I met Laura in college, and from the very first moment, I knew she was different. She was quiet, a little shy, with eyes full of dreams. I became her second boyfriend, and she became my first real love. 3 years of marriage passed in what felt like a blink of an eye, and I was certain we were meant for each other. But I was wrong. Laura had always been proper, responsible, even a bit naive. She didn't go to parties, didn't drink, and wasn't interested in wild crowds. Her entire world revolved around me, her studies, and a few close friends. I trusted her more than I trusted myself. And then she met Cindy. Cindy was her complete opposite. A few years older, experienced, carefree, and dangerous. She was the kind of person parents warn you about. Cindy didn't follow rules. She broke them. Her life was one long party. Alcohol, drugs, loud music, random hookups. I don't know what exactly fascinated Laura about this girl, but something about her was irresistible. At first, the changes were minor. Laura started using different words, became more energetic, more cheerful. Then her style changed. Bright tops, short skirts, high heels, things she never used to wear. I watched as something inside her shifted, but I couldn't stop it. Then the party started. The first time Laura came home at 3 a.m, I thought it was a one-time thing. She excused herself, saying Cindy had kept her out late, that they were just chatting at a cafe. But her wide, dilated pupils, even in the dim light, and the scent of alcohol on her breath told a different story. Back then, I still believed her. Then once turned into a habit. She started going out in the evenings and returning in the early hours. She no longer smelled just of alcohol. There was something heavier in the air around her, something I couldn't place. At first, I asked, then I begged, then I yelled, but she only laughed. "Oh, don't be so serious. I'm just having fun," she'd say every time. One night, I woke up in the middle of the night to find a message from her. "I'll be late. Don't wait up." But I waited. I sat on the couch in the dark, watching the clock as it ticked past 5 a.m. When she finally stumbled in, her makeup was smudged, her dress stained. She didn't even bother explaining. The next day, I decided to follow her. She took a cab downtown, straight to one of those clubs that stay open all night. When I walked in, my heart sank. This wasn't a place for normal life. Everyone was drunk, the air thick with cigarette smoke, and something else, something heavier. And in the middle of it all was Laura, laughing, dancing, drinking cocktails bought for her by strangers. I watched as she disappeared into a dark corner with some guy. I wanted to do something, to scream, to grab her by the arm and pull her out of there. But I couldn't. For the first time in my life, I felt completely powerless. That night, I went home alone, and I realized that there was nothing left holding our marriage together. Laura's behavior only got worse. It was no longer just partying. It was a complete transformation. She stopped coming home on some nights, and when she did, she was barely coherent. Her eyes, once full of warmth and curiosity, were now glazed over, lost in some fog of intoxication. I heard rumors from people who had seen her at underground clubs, places I had never even known existed, places where you didn't just drink. You indulged in everything forbidden. I tried to talk to her, to make her understand what she was doing to herself, to me, to our marriage. But she wasn't the same Laura anymore. "I don't need your permission to live my life," she snapped at me one night after I confronted her about the drugs. "You're so boring." Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I just needed more. That more was Cindy, was the parties, was the strangers who touched her in ways only I should have. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. One night, after another long absence, I decided I needed to see it for myself. I tracked her down to a club called Inferno, a place I had only heard whispers about. It wasn't just a club. It was a place where rules didn't exist, where people indulged in every vice imaginable. I pushed through the thick crowd, the music pounding against my skull, my stomach twisting into knots. And then I saw her. Laura was in the VIP section, sprawled out on a leather couch, a glass of something dark in one hand, a cigarette in the other. A man, some greasy, tattooed stranger, had his arm draped over her shoulder. She wasn't resisting. In fact, She was laughing, pressing closer to him. Another guy sat next to her, whispering something into her ear, and she tilted her head back, exposing her neck like she was inviting him in. I couldn't move. I felt sick. I wanted to scream, to fight, to drag her out of there. But instead, I just watched as she leaned in and kissed the stranger next to her. A deep, slow kiss. I turned and left. That was the moment I knew. I had already lost her. That night, I packed a bag. I couldn't keep pretending this was just a phase. I was done waiting for her to come home. The days that followed were a blur. I tried to keep myself busy, bury myself in work, but it was useless. Everywhere I turned, I saw her, the woman she used to be, the woman I had fallen in love with. And then, inevitably, I saw her as she was now. The woman who had willingly thrown herself into the arms of strangers. The woman who had chosen a life of chaos over the life we built together. Then a phone call came. It was her mother. She sounded exhausted, broken. "Ryan, I don't know what to do anymore," she confessed. "She hasn't come home in 3 days. And when she does, she's not our daughter anymore." I clenched my jaw, closing my eyes. I could already picture Laura stumbling to the front door of her parents' house, reeking of liquor and smoke, slurring her words as she laughed at their concern. "What do you want me to do?" I asked finally. She made her choice. Her mother was silent for a long moment, then a quiet, desperate plea. "Please, just try to talk to her one more time." I didn't want to, but against my better judgment, I agreed. That night, I went looking for her. It wasn't hard to find her anymore. Cindy's crowd had taken over a new place, an old warehouse that had been turned into an illegal club, a place that didn't close, where the music never stopped. I stepped inside, my stomach twisting with dread. The air was thick with smoke and sweat. Bodies pressed together, writhing under flashing neon lights. The bass from the music vibrated through my bones. I moved through the crowd, searching, and then I saw her. She was standing at the bar, a glass of something clear in her hand, a cigarette dangling from her lips. Her once soft, innocent face was now hardened, her makeup smudged, her hair tangled. But what broke me most was her eyes. They were hollow, empty, like she wasn't even there anymore. I pushed through the crowd, grabbing her arm. "Laura," I said firmly, "we need to talk." She turned to me, blinking as if she barely recognized me. Then she let out a lazy laugh. "Oh, look who it is. My boring husband." I ignored the sting in her words. "You need to come home." "Home," she echoed, tilting her head. "Ryan, this is home now." She gestured around at the club, at the drunk and drugged-out people barely standing on their feet. "These people actually know how to have fun. Unlike you." I swallowed the anger rising in my chest. "This isn't you, Laura. Whatever Cindy's done to you, whatever this is, you can still walk away from it." She stared at me for a long moment, and then, slowly, she smirked. "But I don't want to walk away." I felt my heart shatter. I took a deep breath. "Then this is goodbye." She didn't say anything. She just took a long sip of her drink, smirked at me over the rim of the glass, and turned her back to me. I walked out of that club that night and never looked back. I had lost her for good. I tried to move on. I told myself that she had made her choice and that I needed to accept it. But moving on isn't as easy as just walking away. Every night, I lay awake, thinking about her, wondering if she was okay, if she was still alive, if she ever thought about me. Then, one night, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was Laura. Her voice was slurred, barely comprehensible. "Ryan," she whispered. I don't know where I am." My heart stopped. "What do you mean?" "I don't know," she repeated, giggling softly. "Some guy, he gave me something. I feel so good." Rage surged through me. "Where the hell are you, Laura?" She laughed. Then there was muffled movement on the other end. A man's voice, low, predatory, said something I couldn't make out. Then the call ended. I sat frozen, gripping the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. My mind raced through every possibility. She was in danger. She had crossed a line she might not come back from. Against every ounce of self-preservation I had left, I grabbed my car keys and drove into the city. I knew where to look. The Inferno, the Warehouse Club, the places Cindy's people moved through like ghosts in the night. I checked them all, my stomach twisting in knots, my hands clenched into fists. No one had seen her, or at least no one who cared enough to tell me. Then I got a lead. One of the bouncers at a club called Vice gave me a smirk and nodded toward the VIP section. Blonde? Black dress? Might want to check upstairs. I pushed through the crowd, my heart hammering. Upstairs, the VIP lounge was a different world. It was quieter, more sinister. A haze of expensive cigars and cocaine hung in the air. And there, slouched on a couch, was Laura. Her dress was askew, one strap slipping off her shoulder. Her pupils were massive. Her head lolled back as she let out a dazed laugh at something a man next to her whispered. He was older, well-dressed, and had his hand resting high on her thigh. I saw red. I crossed the room in seconds, grabbing her by the wrist. "We're leaving." Laura blinked up at me, her expression hazy, confused. "Ryan." She giggled. "Wow, you actually came." The man next to her shifted, giving me a slow, amused grin. "Relax, buddy," he drawled. "She's having a good time." I clenched my jaw. "Get your hands off my wife." He laughed. "Your wife? She hasn't acted like one in a long time." That was it. I punched him. The hit landed solidly, knocking him back against the couch. Chaos erupted. Someone grabbed me from behind, pulling me away, while Laura shrieked in surprise. I struggled, but more hands grabbed me, shoving me back toward the exit. "Get the hell out of here," a bouncer growled, "or you won't be walking out." I was thrown out onto the pavement, the cold air biting at my skin. The door slammed shut behind me. I sat there, breathing heavily, staring up at the sky, and then I laughed, a bitter, exhausted, broken laugh, because I had been trying to save someone who didn't want to be saved. I didn't answer the next time Laura called, or the time after that, or the time after that. I was done. But then, 2 weeks later, I got another call. This time, it wasn't Laura. It was the police. I stared at my phone, the police officer's voice still echoing in my ears. "Mr. Daniels, we have your wife in custody. We need you to come down to the station." My stomach clenched. "What happened?" The officer sighed. "She was found unconscious in a hotel room. Overdose. We got her to hospital in time, but she's not in good shape." For a long time, I didn't move. I should have felt something. Anger, sorrow, relief. Instead, I felt nothing. The Laura I knew had died a long time ago. The person lying in that hospital bed was someone else entirely. But I went anyway. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and bad coffee. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as I walked down the hallway to her room. When I stepped inside, I barely recognized her. Laura was pale, thinner than I remembered, her once bright hair dull and lifeless. Her arms were covered in bruises, and four was attached to her arm. Her eyes flickered open, and when she saw me, she let out a hoarse laugh. "Wow," she croaked. "You actually came." I sat in the chair beside her bed. "What happened?" She shrugged weakly. "Bad batch, I guess." I clenched my jaw. "This is where it ends, Laura. You're alive. You have a choice. Either you go to rehab, or you won't survive the next time." She stared at the ceiling. "And if I don't want to go, then you're on your own." Her lips pressed together, and for the first time in a long time, I saw something real in her expression. Fear, uncertainty, maybe even regret. "I don't know if I can fix myself," she admitted. "You can," I said, "but I won't be here to watch." A long silence stretched between us. Finally, she nodded. "Okay, I'll do it." Laura entered rehab 2 days later. Her parents handled everything. I stepped back. I wasn't part of her life anymore. I couldn't be. Months passed. I moved out of our old apartment, started fresh in a new city. I focused on rebuilding, on finding myself again after losing so much of who I was trying to save someone who didn't want to be saved. Then one day, I got a letter from Laura. I debated throwing it away, but curiosity won. I opened it. Ryan, I don't know if you'll ever read this. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want to say thank you for trying, even when I didn't deserve it. I finally understand what I lost, and I know I can't get it back. But I hope you're happy. You deserve to be. Laura. I folded the letter, set it aside, and let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. For the first time in years, I felt free.